Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome back to Beyond Your Radio. And yes, it's album review Saturdays 2026, episode 31. We're getting there. It's only a few more weeks left in the year.
Oh God.
If you ever want to timetable your life, do what I'm doing. It's time to get into new releases. And if you're a regular here, it might not be from this past week. We're not top dogs. I don't get shit sent to me. I get digital stuff sent to me of growling, angry bands and wicked stuff, and I love it, and I pass it on, and we do some of that. But you know, all these other people are, they're already reviewing albums that just released Friday. Come on, I got to digest here. Anyway, but what we do here is we it could be weeks and weeks and weeks, and one of them actually is a little bit farther back. Um, you know, beyondyourradio.com. If you don't, hey, go get over there because I wrote the articles for these three particular ones behind me. But the big deal, the reason we do this is damn Armitage Chicks Maloney. She comes on, you get a better perspective rather than my demented one. You get the real deal. You get it from a veteran of years. I don't know about music, but years.
Right. Hi.
And fits the idea of this show and the entire Beyond Your Radio palette of what can you go beyond what you've been used to, and you can, damn it all. So what are we thinking this week? She wouldn't tell me anyway because we try not to talk about it before, so this is like right off the cuff.
Yeah.
So the other additional part here is you go to the website, these three are there. I can't write all day. I got shit to do. And of course, my wife reminds me I have shit to do. But the idea here is we give you three more that we listen to. We give it in the talk, and of course we're gonna play the songs and get sued by the artist and demonetized. So I continually make no money doing any of this. This is one of those kind of all over the musical genre maps this week. It wasn't intentional. The first one completely shocked and shook the foundation of everything I believe this man to be.
Oh.
While he completely ignorant of me, of course, to think that he's that guy. He's this is what he's going to do. Uh, no, that's not where he would. I didn't have an idea where he'd be today. Really, an incredibly surprising album of the week for me on more than one level. We'll get to that. The next one up comes from a band that had a unique voice, literally. Um, in the indie soft rock Americana, that's what I'm going to call it, despite the common pattern it has with the genre. The long awaited true full album debut has this elasticity that has, I don't know, even in knowing the confines of it, found a place in a journey to put you in a very sound representation that I appreciated. Then I I said we got to do something to ground this journey because we had no vocal, we had an odd vocal, and then well, let's just do it up big time and get it a progressive, unpredictable nature. It's suited her well over the last. I don't know. It's probably been a decade of three albums, maybe. She is an avant intellectual goddess of England, a goddess of England, an anchoress of England. We'll get there. So it's if you are hoping for the next Kate Bush, this is as close as you're gonna get. Until she decides to put on an album. Kate, you listen? Okay. Let's start off with this fine gentleman behind me over the. Oh, come on, move your. There we go, right there.
Sorry.
Um, Daryl Jennifer, the Weather Channel. When
Mhm.
I saw our bad brains playing bass funk, flapping slapper, predictable vibration specialist had a new album. Yeah, 16 years later. I'm all in. I'm ready. I want to get bitch smacked. I want to get stomped on. I want my brains beaten. I see the title and I see the Weather Channel, so I'm thinking heavy clouds, tornadoes, maybe even a thunderstorm of bass riff, maybe a monsoon of musical mayhem. And after this, man has been bottled up for 16 years and not exactly doing nothing because he's been with Lauren Hill, who's basically no one remembers apparently, and his own band. But somehow the futuristic hardcore Stanley Clark loving bass player went for something completely different. And so I'm going to change it up here a bit. This is one of those albums, man, where you just lay back and just let it happen. And I'm sure it was heavily influenced by something else. This is that record. Somehow the futuristic hardcore man just said, I want to be smooth. And I don't even know if he talks like that. He probably doesn't. It's beauty, it's bold, it's unabashed connection to a strange weather pattern that apparently has been brewing in this man for many, many years. I think it's the idea of he's always been a fan. What? Well, let's put it this way. He goes from uh that Stanley Clark love, right? When he first gets the bass and right, and then he gets distracted by the onslaught of this hardcore punk because I think he loved the vibration, the power in it, right? The way it rips. And yeah, I'm gonna put the weather thing on this one quite a bit. It's a groove that kind of has this tide. It's got this pull and push, and you're riding this wave. And I don't even know how he managed to find these people in his orbit. Because when I think of Bad Brains and this punk hardcore, I don't think of Medeski, the keyboard jazz, wicked player of jazz, not off kilter. I mean, yeah, he's done off kilter, but so he's in this up to his eyeballs, right? The whatever this picture yourself on a sailboat, a majestic sailboat that's real. It's pristine. You're just you're loving it. You're waiting for the wind to take you here. You're probably sipping, whatever you want to sip. And, yeah, there's some work you got to do and tie this down, but everybody knows what they're doing, especially Medeski, especially Daryl, right? And oh, why don't we add this drummer extraordinaire, Ben Porowski, who's played with Elsie Fields, he's with John Zorn. Oh, um, Adam Levy, who was with Nora Jones. So he's got this big field of things, right? Oh yeah, he worked with Khaki King. He worked with Rachel Yamagata. He worked with Iggy Pop, and then Trey Anastasio. So this guy's resume is huge, and he's in it, right? I don't know. It's just, and where you hear it finally, where it comes to pass, where I finally realized, and I didn't look at it because I don't have the album. When I heard Reignition 2, which is a Bad Brains song reimagined. I'm like, there's nobody that could be but Medeski, just the way the keys are being played. And sure enough, that's who it is, right? And I
Wow.
just, oh my God, right? And then we have two posthumous players on here too, in the jazz world. Jack DeJohnette, who's I think playing only melodica, but I can't because I don't have the record. I don't know, but I don't even know what the melodica is, but he's a piano player too.
Okay.
And he passed. And Carl Berger. Now Berger is a pianist, but more known on the vibraphone. And I know he's got to be the vibraphonist here. Even though when you look online, it doesn't say there's a vibraphonist. There had to be, unless there's someone who's messing with the keys. And
Mm,
on the Bandcamp page, they do mention these two individuals, so I can only assume that that's where they are.
got it.
But so total instrumental, no lyrics. Uh-oh, damn.
Well, I have heard of this guy, but I thought that I hadn't because this album was so very different. And, I knew that Bad Brains was a band and I knew it was named after a Ramones song. And so I'm like, well, I know this guy. I haven't heard some good punk in a while. Well,
You
wow.
got punked.
I I did. And interesting enough, I didn't cite his punk and rock influences. I was more interested in what led him to here, and he loves the Mahavishnu Orchestra. So there you go.
Yep.
So I'm always pretty impressed with an artist that maybe the general public would go, "Oh, punk, how hard is that? How good of a musician do you need to be to do that?" Because there's some punk is pretty simplistic, very narrow in the key range, very
Green Day. What? Oh, sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I surprisingly liked this album.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I listened to it and I found out that it was him from Bad Brains, I had to dig a little bit into these songs and really how they came about and why, you know, he went with some of the names like Reignition 2 and Sacred Love 2. But yeah, he wanted to bridge for his punk fans what he was doing there into what he can do over here. I think that's kind of a brilliant thing to rearrange your own songs and make them different. That's not easy either because if you wrote those songs, I I imagine it's part of your bones. And to
Yeah.
change the way it completely sounds and is reimagined, I find that that is a brilliant artist. I'm always intrigued by that. I'm really intrigued when somebody takes somebody else's song and rearranges, but to do your own and go that far, big
Yeah.
that's a big wide turn, right? The one song that I really thought was mellow and lush and cocktail lounge kind of cheesy feeling was Love's Harmony. And I
Yeah.
did like that one. So interesting, Daryl. Who knew?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he knew, right?
He knew.
Daryl doesn't
Daryl.
vacate his scene completely here, obviously, right? He's
Yeah.
still doing some dub. We got
Yeah.
Wright's dub, which comes right after Wright's. This album does mesh. I think where my problem is, where this probably won't wind up in the top albums, even though how good it is
Yeah.
how it doesn't end songs so well,
Yeah.
right? But I'm really tickled that as a composer, well, let's not call him a composer. Let's call him an editor. He made some really good adjustments, whatever, because I'm sure these songs were rock jazz fusion to infinity, and infinity as one of the tracks is. But it's just there's still progressive rock jazz. The Mahavishnu is in there, but there's nothing elaborately over the top, and it
Right.
doesn't go as hard as you were going to expect it to. Although there are those that have a more rock tint to them. They don't even sound jazz in some
Right.
cases.
And then maybe that's why it was more inviting to me because you know
Yeah,
how I feel
right.
about jazz. So
Mm-hmm.
it did something for me, anyways, that held my attention.
Yes, yes. Punk Doomba. Come on, let me. When you see that title, you man, the Weather Channel doesn't hit the catastrophic waves or tsunami that you were expecting. It is just God blessed smooth. And it I just my one thing is I would like him to not wait 16 years. Kind of put it back out there. I mean, you're surrounding yourself. This Stanley Clark style thing is really good. It's melded melodically too in it. I would assume there's an influence here that's medicinal, as I already alluded to, as it was so fine tuned that was fun, interesting record that showcased his feel for more than the bass and temper management that he probably had with Bad Brains. I would love another record that's just around the corner. All right, I did. Yeah, I did that. Buffalo Traffic Jam, pictures of you, and if you look up that cover, pictures of you. This is two skeletons on a couch,
Mhm.
uh, um, and I'm sure Dan has a little bit on this. When I saw this, I thought it'd be cool because hey, local band made good. No,
You
no,
know,
we're not from Buffalo. Different kind of Buffalo traffic jam. Montana duo from Bosnia. No, what's it called? Bozeman.
Bozeman. Bozeman.
Bozeman. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've never been to Montana. My wife has been like multiple times.
I know. I
Uh,
haven't.
so what you're getting here is you're getting your soft indie Americana, indie folk, a far cry from the dangers and traffic issues of Buffalo, New York. I really wasn't surprised. I didn't think they were from Buffalo, but come on, you know me. I had to go somewhere. Rabbit hole with. I don't have an inch of knowledge of this band whatsoever. But I knew there kind of be a pretty good traffic map of musical interests, considering the genre that is kind of exploding. You got your Red Clay Strays. You got your who did we do last week?
Oh, the
The revivalists,
yeah,
right? So Frankie Cassidy and his bandmate Nathan Ross, who is the instrumentalist here, multi instrumentalist, playing all the instruments. I maybe Frank Cassidy does guitar. I didn't really look, but it's his
Oh, I don't
vocal.
know.
His vocal is the thing. They finally have emerged from this single here, single there. I know there's like some LP you can't get that they might have
Hmm.
self-produced back in time, but um, this is a debut that it's indie rock hinted, but more rooted in the prior, right? And Pictures of You is exactly that. Pictures of You. They're going through a photo album, so to speak. Not they, but collectively due to loss. Okay, so the album is a lyrical look through the idea of memory, right? Pictures, alluding to the emotional impact and effect of seeing them and seeing and believing has on your mood, kind of the way we process our time and how we feel, who we become in life, day to day, week to week, year to year, and the landscape changes. Sometimes it changes very subtly, like it does in this record. And there are times where it's a little jolt or a hammer of sorts. And Mr. Frankie's vocal, his rasp that he has, and very narrow softness.
And I know we don't feel right. You're the luckiest man alive. Hold me words, hold me close. Spend a week damn comatose. Dreams, dreams, dreams. It's on again, off again. Wake me up when it ends. Please, please, please. Come road to being insane. Damn these anxious brains. There's a feeling I can't find.
It's a narrow passageway that this album is delivered in. It somehow lyrically creates more elasticity in that voice.
Mm.
And obviously, the guy playing alongside of him knows how to make that all work and feel. So you get your comparisons here in the very packed house of this genre that it is. But this is a little something different, even for me. So when I first listened to it, I was like, "Hmm, did I? Is this got a lot? Does this have enough?" And as it grew, I start to believe it really does. This is like, so take the Buffalo traffic jam out of your mindset and think about you're on the road, you're on the interstate, and you're very familiar with it to the point of pure boredom. And then you see this road on the side that you just decide to take. I don't know what the name of the road is, but you take it. And it's not a long road. It's not an overly difficult road, but it is something different. And this one has that, and it puts you back on the interstate eventually. Damn.
Wow. Well, um, I knew they weren't from Buffalo because I know one of their songs. So,
Oh, okay.
from
So
the album.
good, good, good.
So the name of the band actually came from literally being stuck in Yellowstone in the middle of a bison traffic jam. You can't not love those kind of stories. I mean, really, they're just sitting there going, well, Mr. Ross, what are we going to name our band as they're stuck in a Buffalo traffic jam. So that's pretty cool. The two guys, Cassidy and Ross, you mentioned them. Cassidy's trained architect and Ross is a mechanical engineer. Now, people might say, how does that bring you to music? Tell you, get your kids in music because that will help them in math. So their mathematical brains has nothing to do with how creative they are. It just probably helps them along the way. So that's all I got to say about that. Zach Bryan, they know Zach Bryan is one of their influences. Not surprised about that after hearing this album. But the song that I have been hearing on the radio that was released before the album was Fool's Gold. And I hear it a lot. I loved it the first time I heard it. Um, Luckily, my radio comes up in the car with who's playing the song. So it inspired me to look up who this was. And then I thought maybe they're from Buffalo, and they're not. So I already knew that. And I was a little disappointed because I really like this album. It's my favorite this week. Um, I like Daydreaming that had some unfiltered, like emotional range to it. Pictures of You, the title track, a lot of picking in there and layers and very good, very good. Held my attention because it's different than Fool's Gold, but in the same vein, I felt that the album had a good flow. I really thought that they had more albums than I didn't know that this was their debut album. Did they play in other bands?
Not that I was aware of. I mean, um, I if I remember correctly, they may have had some stints where they were um opening for people or having a connection to. I don't know why Tyler Childress is in my brain cell at the moment, but
Well,
um
they did list Tyler as well
oh,
as
okay. All right.
influence.
Just yeah, I just remembered something of that nature. But yeah, I don't, it's just an interesting roadway on this, and this genre is still finding more and more avenues, and this is just one of those. And I think it's this vocal
Yeah,
that does it.
agreed.
Yeah, there's grit and grass to this. Um, Sort of like your, I mean, obviously blue collar is not Montana, but dusty collar.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
hard work.
Yeah, I'm leery of like where we go, right? But
Mm,
it's those songs like "Luckiest Man Alive" that will guide you to the truest reason why this duo kind of deserves space on your busy Americana indie folk listening docket. Um, it's it's wide and vast despite the narrow vocal, uh, and I credit that to the duo realizing their surroundings, and they don't go to this monumental spacing, despite the fact that they live in Montana.
yeah,
It's not about this huge landscape. They're taking a section of it, a real short section of it, and it isn't a vast recording that's going to soundscape you to death, which is a plus too. Um, it's overwhelmingly tight. It's emotional to the heart
hmm
of that matter, and I thought that was great. Buffalo Track Jam's debut is it's a fine place to start if I'm them. Now you can see where you're going to
yeah.
go from there. Who knows? Uh, you know, but they do know how to keep you on the road less traveled, and then ease you back. Uh, you know, and like the title track states, I'm very much hanging on hope that this well done recording will lead them to another road and place where these two gentlemen make another connection for all of us. Which leads us to number three, the Anchoress, as we once were. The devastating vocal that is Catherine Ann Davies can be showcased in a million different ways. And if you're not familiar with this woman's incredible background of intellectual accomplishments, be forewarned, you might find yourself in a bewildering world of devoted passions, which makes her progressive art rock the closest combination of Tori Amos meets prog Madonna. What? Yeah, get ready. With that Kate Bush. And I honestly, in today's world, her equal would be Deb's brother, Bruce. And she's probably a scientist in there somewhere too. I mean, this lady's got accolades like no tomorrow in English literature, and
Whatever.
yeah, I found her in the Art of Losing album back in 2021, and that's based on some American poet. And if I read that, I need a I need to go back to school.
Making you
Just
feel dumb.
yeah. So when I heard we were getting As We Once Were this year, some nearly what I think it's almost 5 years since that prior record. I figured this might be one of those that falls outside of the easy to gauge range.
Mm,
She's definitely a she goes beyond the creature comfort of female rock, progressive rock, and then some. So I could pretty much that the talent level here. Yes, another multi instrumentalist who, in actuality, on this record, surrounded herself with a few others that decided to have their. I don't know whether she had a call out and they decided to come, but she certainly opened the gates to those that are odd in some instances, but she did go to an individual who is her creature comfort, and she has a very strong connection to Manic Street Preachers and Mr. Bradfield. So from that, this is a progressive rock record, but it's slightly gauged in synth, it's slightly gauged in art, and it has a little bit more disconnect than her prior records. There are interludes,
yeah,
which I'm not usually a fan of. So that kind of disrupted me a bit. But let's see how Dan was, because I'm pretty sure this is the first time she's been anchored.
yeah. This is a new one for me. Catherine Ann Davies. Yeah, there was a lot of information on her, and I kept thinking maybe AI is serving me up multitude of different Catherine Ann Davies, but no, it's the same
Oh.
person. She nearly drowned as an infant at her christening. Okay,
Hmm.
now that priest has to go. I was gonna say it's not a huge, bathtub right there. So I don't know what the guy was doing. She actually had a hand injury that she was in a cast for 6 months at one point and nearly ended her career. So that's even more impressive that she's still playing and making this kind of music after something like that. And I couldn't find which records it was, but Elton John noted that one of her works was one of his all-time favorites of a particular year. So I'm thinking it must be the 2021 that he was mentioning.
I guess. I mean, I honestly I don't remember the first record. I do remember the
Okay,
2021, but who knows? I maybe once you listen to something like that of this nature, you're not going to keep listening to it. I don't think,
yeah,
unless you're an RT individual. Now, again, someone like me, I'm a bad judge or gauge for that because I have to listen to a multitude
sure,
and continue, just like you do. So now there are some people that just, oh my gosh, and they'll go down this. And if you are a
sure.
Kate Bush fan,
Well,
you will
and that's what I was
definitely be
going
in
to
there.
say, because if you look at who her influences are, which it is no surprise that Kate Bush is listed as one of hers. I mean, you got David Bowie, Prince, Brian Eno. They're all very theatrical kind of
Yes.
people. And Prince, how many instruments did he play in his lifetime? And so after listening to the album, I was not surprised as to who her influences were, for sure. It wasn't like I all of a sudden went, wow, that's weird. It would have been weird if some of them weren't actually named by her because I would have been surprised. But this album, yeah, I understand what you mean, the interludes, things like that. But the songs that stood out for me, I felt in Throw Over Your Man, I could hear Ann Wilson there, that more powerful voice, not so much a Kate Bush, because, of course, after I knew that, I was listening for Kate a lot. That's just the natural thing you do when it gets put into your mind. The one song that I really like this the satire was I had a baby, not a lobotomy.
Yes.
Yeah, there, done that, felt that for sure. And it wasn't just the satirical part of it. Good harmonies. It's edgy. It was like you said. It's not that over the top prog stuff. You know,
No,
there's
no,
some.
her voice blends in this instance. Now, I'm not going to say the prior record sounded like the modern Madonna-ish thing, but she definitely is attacking that side of things. And that song that you mentioned, she has Gweno on there, and Gweno is a Welsh Cornish singer. Okay,
Oh,
and she's doing harmony and this, and I'm like, how did she figure on getting that individual in? I just obviously James Dean Bradfield I can understand with Manic Street Preachers, but then there's Hannah Peel, who's a Mercury Award nominated artist, singer, songwriter, multi instrumentalist as well, and she's on the record. So it's
hmm,
everything you'd want in a female a solo artist in this wheelhouse, and it has a
cool.
lot of things going on. Yes, there's those Brian Eno ambient moments, but they're not ambient, they're more prelude. That
Yeah,
the where the album starts off with this French backwards singing whatever the hell's
yeah,
going on. i
yeah,
i was lost, but again, she's intellectual. I'm a stupid Polish guy who can't even decide on a wardrobe most of the time. So
yeah.
kudos to her. I find her very interesting. I think she's um she has a style too, and if you ever get to see some of the art that she wear, I mean the way she dresses, and the I'm
Hmm.
assuming a live performance, she's probably changing outfits multiple times, like Whoopi Goldberg at the Oscars. And it's it's
Well,
it's a unique position that most are not doing right now. And of course,
yeah,
it's probably an expensive route too. Um,
yeah,
so
because that song "Damsels," I like that one. That was like a dream pop, but it had syncopation to it. It was there was something that was different about it. There's no way you could predict how you were going to hear and feel from one song to the next as well. Not that they were totally different. It's just there was always something a little bit extra that she gave that you went, oh, listen to that. That's kind of cool that she put that in there. And like the syncopation, I just don't. Prog isn't syncopated. I could
mm,
play prog. Syncopation is not easy. So and to sing it, that's not easy. I mean, Rob Thomas can do it for sure, but it's one of those things that when you're hearing music and you're hearing the underlying music, and then your vocals have to be syncopated in contrast with the music itself, then you go, wow, yeah, she's got it. So it
yeah.
was cool.
Yeah. All right, the extras, bring them on. And we start off with something completely off the rail wheelhouse of ours that we don't touch as often, although our one panelist Jeff DeYoung would have been all in on this one. This is Zed's Dead. Return to the return of the spectrum of intergalactic happiness. So already when you have that long a title, we got problems probably for me, because usually it means too much, has too much, and goes too many places. But when Zed takes us here, you know what you're in for, probably, if you're a follower. And I have to say, it's been a few months, years since I kind of went back to a Zed's Dead record. So we got Glitch, EDM, and Loop. And so first listen, I was kind of just feeling a lack of invention. I kind of thought, well, I'm here. This is where we are normally, and that. But on the second and third time through, the signature groove club, your bass beat, and the flow of the loops kind of creates a little bit something that you're not really aware of. And the guests start to have a little bit more influence on this. There were some surprises and connections I thought I wouldn't find.
Mhm.
I also found a bit of cohesion, which I wasn't expecting. From some certain tracks to certain tracks. But then again, there is that galaxy of hum that kind of goes through the record. So sometimes you wonder if that's in the track all the way through for the what is this, like 50 minutes long, I think, or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, and then they layer it over the top. I'm sure that's not what they do because it's all digital, maybe, but return to the return.
Mm.
Return to the return. What does that even mean? I don't even.
Oh no,
Oh,
I don't want to think about it too much.
yes, I'm caught in this loop. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, get me out of
Oh.
this loop, Deb.
um, well, did you know how they got the name of their band?
No, I have no idea.
It's a reference to a line in Pulp Fiction. Bruce Willis turns to his girlfriend and says, Zed's dead, and I think it might be the Gimp guy. I'm not sure. I gotta go back a little bit further to find out
No,
who
Zed's
Zed.
dead. What is that? The one of the in the boxer, right? One of the box, like maybe
Yes,
his.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
must be.
All
So,
right.
and that's one of my favorite movies because it's so weird. But
Zed's
anyway,
dead. All right.
um, they're from Toronto, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Um, they actually had their first taste of learning how to do musical production from a PlayStation MTV game. So,
Yeah.
you got people learning how to fly planes and how to produce music. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, this is typically not my kind of music. It can be monotonous for me, but I did feel like they had enough change ups throughout this album and even within songs that kept me interested. Like there was a out of time had like this club feel to it, and I go, oh, I hope this isn't going to be like monotonous, just where I'm going like this for the next 7 minutes. Some of those songs can be that way. I felt that the vocals kind of built and got layered, and it made it a little bit more interesting. Pouring rain. They
Boring.
had pouring, pouring rain had an old school hip hop feel for me. I could kind of feel some of that
Yes.
coming through. In your head, electro punk. It was energetic. It was a little catchy for me, I have to say.
Yeah, that was the one I was like, okay, I'm in, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, and that's
yeah.
what it's the first one that I actually listed here. But yeah, I don't know if I'd ever go back or forward to Zed, to tell you the truth. It's just kind of left me meh.
Yeah, you gotta have the black mini skirt thing going on in the club when I don't even know
Yeah,
if there are those anymore, right?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So our number two, Collective Soul. This is their 400th album. No, I don't. They've been doing this since the 90s. Touch and Go. If there was ever an appropriate title for a seasoned veteran album that's struggling for something and alienating the listener into commonplace, well, this is the one. It's Touch and Go. It's got a touch of this, and they should have let it go. I This is the one that the second half returns us to our regularly scheduled program of
Yeah,
somewhat catchy riff because this band, it wasn't even it was like something you never heard before technically, you
yeah,
know. And and it
yeah.
would stop and then they get this is seems like standard rock fare. um Hook, yeah, but not line and sinker. It's just a hook and it dies off, or I don't know. The album doesn't start to attack me or feel like Collective Soul without Collective Soul. I was trying to come up with something that was like Arthritic Soul, and Fun came in and Feel, and that felt like okay. And that's this touch and go. Like, do I want to go there? Do I want them to go there? I want, if this is what that's your signature. You can't lose your signature. And this album loses its signature. This by far to me will be the album of disconnect. This will be the one that will probably, if they're going to play live, they better not go here that often. They better just stick to maybe one track, a little bit of funk, fun, or feel, and just leave it at that. Sorry, you are what you are. Deal with it, or make some, or be Bob Dylan. All right, and make a mark again, and make a mark again, and make a
Yeah.
mark again. This doesn't make a mark. This lost mark. Damn.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I've always liked Collective Soul. I was excited for this one. And, whenever I see a band on our list that I actually have heard of, I always get excited. So, yeah, I mean, because they were, I guess, very inventive with the way they were able to meld who their influences were, their Southern rock with their Fleetwood Mac, with their Eagles, with their Elton John, and with things you didn't even put your finger on that kind of made it their own. And you went, oh, I hear a hint of that. But they became Collective Soul. You got to the point where you weren't comparing them to others. And this album, I felt like I was comparing them to others all the time. That it wasn't them. I could hear Rick Ocasek and Cars galore on this album. Like a couple
Which
times,
leads us to
yeah,
Daryl Jennifer, because he was with Rick Ocasek
okay,
for
well, isn't that
during those
funny?
times too.
Okay, so I mean, I had feelings of like Tears for Fears in places, and it was confusing to me.
His vocals still stood out some cases. Still, that was still there.
Wasn't
The
the problem.
the two different versions of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, even though they sounded like car songs, I still liked them, like Rainbow and Eye on You and Fun. And that Fun sounds like something off of Candy O. And there were other places where I went, oh, that vocal sounds like something, but I don't know what it is, which is how I sometimes liked Collective Soul, where I would go, hmm, that sounds familiar, but I don't know quite what it is. But yeah, I was disappointed.
Didn't
My
even have a
George
good ballad
boys.
on it, I don't think.
No,
That's
I don't think so. Sorry, Collective
okay.
Soul.
I'm with you on it. I'm with you on it.
There were
Again, the
other way better
vocal
ones to
stood.
see.
Yeah,
Yes.
vocal was okay. Songs are okay, but okay. Don't do it. Just I don't know. You know what? Redo your songs. Put another spin. I don't know. Till you got something you want to bang out, and now Rick Beato's gonna unfollow me. Doesn't follow me to begin with. So finally we'll wrap things up with GA20 and Charlie Musselwhite. Now, they've done this before. The name of the album is Blues Now. They've actually tampered with some Hound Dog Taylor, where they reimagined that kind of stuff. So yeah, so we get the GA20. So GA20 is this American blues band that's been kind of gathering moss and getting a lot of acclaim, lucky for us, you're seeing this today. Tomorrow we could go see them because they're opening for Devin Allman here in Lewiston. So who knows? Might wind up over there. But it sounds like Chicago blues. it acts like Chicago blues. It's got all this blues and swamp sometimes too, and that's where I
Yeah.
heard them on Crackdown. Crackdown is where I started with them, and
Okay.
but they're not from Chicago.
I just talked to my baby on the telephone. She said, "Stop what you're doing and come on home. I can't hold out. I can't hold out too long."
No, they're not.
Where are they from, Deb?
Boston.
Boston. That's right. Yes, yes.
Boston.
Most of them went to jail for no, they didn't steal anything. They're robbing banks. Yeah, yeah. They've got a this idea of going. They can go honky tonkish blues. They can go. They're kind of all over the map. But this is grounded. This is not as swampy as they can get, or as.
Yeah.
But Musselwhite here is harmonicizing with the band, and it's a nice it's what you would expect in most cases. It might be a if somewhere between their style and maybe the Rolling Stones going to the blues side like they did before. So, but damn, where you love the blues, so
Love the blues. And do you know what a GA20 is? You do.
I and when you say it, I'm probably gonna remember, but let's see. I don't.
Well, it's a rare vintage 1950s Gibson amp.
Oh, it's a Gibson amp. Yeah, okay,
Amp,
all right.
not a
I
not a
thought I
not
for a minute there. I'm like, is it a cassette? Okay, never.
Yeah, really. Used to go get it record theater.
Yeah,
Um,
GA Tony. I need to record on that.
this one kind of came up against Buffalo Traffic Jam for me this week.
Okay.
This was really good for me, anyways. It had all the stuff that I love about the blues, and maybe not every song exactly every single thing I love about the blues, but each song kind of had an element in it. I didn't feel like every song was exactly the same, which is good because I like a good old fashioned do 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 do.
Which
But
really was there, but not like over the top.
that's
Everything seemed ingenuical and different, but it also sounded like it could be from those years, the way it
absolutely,
was
and
recorded. Yeah.
that's great. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you. The Blues Never Die, that song,
Mhm.
that is the quintessential blues song that when people go, I don't like the blues, that's because that's what they think of because it's sad, and it, but that's, you got to have a song like that on your album. I liked Crazy Love. That was a Buddy Guy cut, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah, I think so.
But great harmonica. I tell anybody, and if I'm in a live performance and I'm watching somebody play a harmonica, that is the most mystifying instrument to me. And and when somebody can make it into a melody that you can recognize and it sounds the same twice in a row, they're they really know how to play the harmonica. So that's always something that catches my ear. And you mentioned Swampy. Yeah, I Can't Hold Out. That was a Swampy blues track with some slide guitar on there. And Cristo, what was it? Cristo Rendentor. That was a jazz piece that they reimagined.
Oh, what was? I didn't know.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. So, like we said, that's really that's a talented thing to make
Yeah, it was
something.
the first record I listened to this when we put all the records, and
Yeah.
I went back to it later because I was like, okay, blues. I wasn't what I was expecting from them because of what I remembered from Crackdown, and I was
Mhm.
confusing them with another band to it at the same time. There's a
Oh,
another band that has a funk blues thing going on. They're
oh.
from London. So I was got and that's why when I saw Charlie Muscle, I'm like, wait a minute. Then I'm like, oh, GA20. I got the wrong band.
Yep. Good
So
album.
yeah, so I kind of figured you might be in on those two at the putting them at the forefront, right? Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll thank Dan for joining me again this week. She's joining me next week, I hope, because it's
Yes.
nearly all female, or it is all female. I'm not quite sure
Really?
because when it comes right down to it, we've got one of the, for me, one of the most celebrated and anticipated records that just came out this last Friday, and that's Phoebe Bridgers' Lost
Yeah.
Weekend, which should be a magnificent record. But we have the return of Carly Simon, who's been
Yes.
away from it for a long time. Yeah, we go to a pedal from Ariana Grande, which is not my forte, but we'll see. And then the only one I'm concerned that I don't know is female or not is some medieval found footage. We're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We'll throw it down there come time. YouTube, of course. Articles, videos, podcasts, all about music, albums, bands, artists, anything we get our hands on, even a Buffalo traffic jam. Wait a minute. Does that sound like something you'd spread over jelly or over bread?
On a Vegemite sandwich.
Yes, right. Go beyond your radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. As always, thanks for watching and happy listening.
Bye.